Ladies and gentlemen, a new snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition 1.16, the Nether update has been released. Here is 20w21a bringing to you experimental support for customized world generation settings, a new way to toggle redstone wire, and many more fixes and updates. My name is slicedlime, I'm here to guide you through all the changes in this version. Let's start with Redstone, a follow-up to the Redstone changes made previously in the snapshots for this version. There is now the ability to toggle a redstone wire that is a single wire that is not connected to any other wire between a cross and a dot. By default, the redstone wire will come out looking like a cross, and if you right-click on it, then you will toggle it to a dot. Do note that the connections still visually represent exactly what will happen when the wire is powered. A dot of redstone will not power its surrounding blocks, but a cross of redstone will. Now let's talk about those custom worlds, shall we? There is now import and export world settings functionality. If you open the edit world screen, you will find an export button, and on the create world screen you will find an import button. Now what they do is they save and load a JSON file with the world generation settings. Keep in mind that any changed settings are considered experimental. We'll flag your world as experimental and will show you a warning. Anything that is a changed setting will not be supported in coming versions and can change from snapshot to snapshot. You have been warned. This is a very early first release of this feature, let's call it a feature preview, released for testing and to gather feedback, but things will change going forward. Now there are a huge number of settings in these JSON files. These customized worlds are more like data-driven world generation than they are similar to the old custom worlds. That means there's no new UI screen with sliders or anything like that. The intent here is to give as full control as possible over world generation to the user, but that also makes it impossible to have a simplified user interface for it. Anyway, this is the first snapshot with this functionality, and as such it is expected to be a bit rough around the edges. A couple of examples of this is that the structure settings are missing from flat level preset strings. You can use the import and export settings functionality to work around this though. And buffet worlds can no longer be created from server.properties. This functionality that is missing from the snapshot will return soon. One notable thing with the custom worlds is that not only can you change the settings of your worlds, you can also create entirely new dimensions with custom settings. There's no vanilla way to get into these walls, you'll have to use an execute teleport command. There's also no official documentation for any of this. There is, however, an example file posted by one of the developers, Fry, and that is what is generating this dimension that we're looking at now. If you want to try this dimension out, I'll link the settings file that he posted in the video description. Just import that into your new world and then run execute in Minecraft : use the teleport command, run teleport yourself somewhere. Anyway, that was a lot about custom worlds. Try them out for yourself and experiment. This video will not contain a full list of all of the settings. There will be tutorial videos on this channel later on once we get closer to release. Other changes to the vanilla world generation include the increased chance of ores to generate in basalt deltas to balance out the reduced amount of netherrack in that biome. Ancient debris and nether gold ore can now also generate in basalt deltas. And creating a world from a named seed that is not a number has been fixed in this version. Gameplay changes in this version. Lily pads are now considered junk fishing loot rather than treasure. That means that you can get lily pads from fishing in shallow water. If you tried to interact with an entity that was 3 or more blocks away without seeing its eyes, then you would get a server client desync problem. That has been fixed in this version. When any non-player entity enters the end portal, that will now regenerate the obsidian platform just as if the player entered, so that the entity doesn't fall into the void. The hardness of the nether stems has increased to make them as hard as logs for other wood types. And buckets can now be emptied into a source block again. Mob changes. Wither skeletons can now spawn inside of wither roses again. Piglins will now change their current crossbow for an enchanted crossbow. Another bug has also been fixed where piglins would rather hold a gold item than a crossbow. And when given a gold item, piglins will now stand still admiring it instead of strolling around randomly. If you hurt a piglin while it is admiring a gold ingot, they will now pocket that ingot, making it disappear. And if you used commands to make piglins ride an entity, then they would immediately dismount. That is also fixed. A bug with all mobs has been fixed where they would sometimes just stop attacking or following their target if they got close enough. And parrots will now imitate hoglins, zoglins, and piglets. A couple of visual updates for this version. There is a new logo on the splash screen for Mojang Studios, and the main menu has an updated logo for Minecraft. A bug has also been fixed where nether sprouts were not visible when held in the hand and not centered when in an item frame. Some minor UI fixes in this version, including there not being a space in the beacon's secondary power effect in the user interface, and buttons not being selected in the right order when tapping through them on the world creation menu. There are also a large number of fixes to problems with subtitles. A couple of new command line options have been added in this version. They are Disable Multiplayer and Disable Chat. You will have to add these to your launch options if you want to use them, and what they do is disable a certain aspect of the game, that is, disabling the multiplayer button if the Disable Multiplayer option is used, and disabling the sending and receiving of chat messages if the Disable Chat command line option is used. We've already been through custom dimensions, but there are more technical changes in this version. Let's go through changes to commands. There's a new optional argument to the spread players command. It is placed just before the respect team's boolean option, and it is under followed by a maximum height. If you don't specify this, then the default of 256 is used, but if you do specify it, then the resulting location from the spread players command will be under that coordinate. This can be used to spread entities into caves or to spread players down onto a surface in the Nether. And a change to the locate command, structure names are now specified as lowercase. In addition to this, a number of stability fixes, including crash fixes for loading certain old worlds. Now, like I mentioned, this snapshot is considered a bit experimental and much more unstable than even most snapshots. There are a couple of bugs known already, this one more than any others, but as always, snapshots are unstable and can cause world corruption. And in addition to that, any world loaded into this snapshot can never be downgraded to a previous version again. So if you want to try this snapshot, do so on a backup of your world, or in a separate test world. If you want to try this out but you don't know how to, then click on the link on a card on the video right now or in the video description. That'll take you to a tutorial about how to get and play the latest Minecraft snapshot. And that was all I had for you this time. I hope you found this update video useful, and if you did, please help me out in return, leave a like and share it with your friends. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Minecraft news, then please subscribe to this channel where I make update videos about every new snapshot, pre-release and release of Minecraft. And don't forget to hit that bell icon and select all to get notified when the new videos are out. My name is slicedlime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.